going over. It's live streaming, so yes. Yes. Because serializers are for APIs, right? This is not an API. This is just a regular web app where we have a template. The form data is sufficient, right? So remember yesterday we didn't use a serializer when we saved the form, right? Yes. Okay. So Jake showed you a lot of design aspects. He showed you how you can really build a website the right way. What I'm going to show you is how you can build a website as fast as humanly possible and have a decent looking site. Some cases where you might need to do this. Say you are a back-end engineer, someone doing cluster computing like myself, and a client hires you and they want you to mainly do cluster stuff, but they're like, well, we really need a website too. And they just refuse to hire a designer because they think you're up for the job. When that happens, you're going to have to get creative because if you're like me, you have no design eye, and in general are garbage at choosing anything involving aesthetics. So then the question becomes, we're going to use Bootstrap, which is a popular CSS framework. We're going to say free Bootstrap themes. When someone sees one in here that they like, Grayscale. What do you guys think about this one? Grayscale. We've got a few different options here. What one? This one? So funny enough, by the way. This is several years old at this point, though. Okay. Well, that's good. I'll. Well, I've done this before. Cool. So let's unzip it. Okay. So we're going to go to our URLs here. And we're actually going to do this in the main URL since this is on the main site. And let's make a landing page. So we'll say path blank. And we'll say, so we really just want a static site. And we saw something a little while ago when we were looking at documentation called a template view. So I'm going to bet that that's what we need here. Yeah. Okay. Can we do it directly in? So I'm going to import this into here. And I'm going to say template view. Okay. Doesn't want to autocomplete. That's fine. I say template view. I'm just going to instantiate that. It's going to be basic. We're going to say template name in here. And we're just going to call it, yeah, home.html is actually totally fine. And we'll just say as view. So we're going to go here, make a new file. We're going to call home.html. Okay. Invalid syntax. Oh no. Yes, thank you. So if it's only available in class, not on an instance. Oof. Tragic things. So let's say template view URL. Actually, that's probably where it's creating the instance. Okay. And let's go to here. Oof. Still got a problem. No, we do not. We need to restart here. Okay, let's refresh. Hey, perfect. So now we're going to go to our Bootstrap pages here. Let's look at their come on. Cool. And we'll just drag this over and open it over here. And we will copy this and paste right here. I'm not going to look at that anymore. Not after it was ruined. 1,000. Oof. So we need images in CSS, CSS&JS. So we need to set up for the static sites. So we have a bunch of static content, HTML, CSS, JavaScript that needs to be loaded into our Django app. And question us on how to do that. So we're going to look up Django static files. Managing static files. Cool. So what we can essentially do is we can create a particular folder where we're going to put up our static data, and then we can reference that from anywhere in our templates. So I'm going to make a make a new folder called static and get the CSS. Sure. I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to just yes. Yeah. And now we're going to go here and we can do static URL. So at the top of our home, we're going to put load static. And then, yeah, so that's HTTPS, here's some CSS. And then we'll do, okay, static, %. Cool. It says make sure that Django.contrib static files is in our apps in our settings. So, wrong spot. Settings. Oh, already in there. Perfect. Let's see. Static template tag, configured static storage, my app static. Let's refresh it. Oof. Could not parse the remainder. Well, but this error is coming from here because the other files will just fail in the browser. They won't actually throw an error in. Yes, thank you. That was a very good catch. Okay, let's see if if we had that loaded in correctly. So we go to sources and static.css freelancer is loaded in. So now we can go everywhere. So let's go to all the link tags. Look at them. So vendor, Cool. Now let's go to all the script tags. Basically, so we set up Django so that it would load our static files. And now what we're doing is we're just using the Django way of loading static files, and we're changing our theme so that it will use that. Oh, thank you again. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, it's funny because this is almost a complete clone of my portfolio site, because it not only is my portfolio site a blog, although I've never blogged anything, it's built in Django using this exact theme. Cool beans. Let's save that, see if we have any more, and we do. Don't worry, we're not going to have to do this too many times. Sources, network. Interesting. So where did it... I did bring... I thought I brought... No, because these... Yeah, these are CDNs. / static vendor. I'm guessing that we need to go back to the instructions and set our static URL in our settings file. And it's already set. Yeah, it was. Oh no, here's the freelancer min. Yeah. Let's see. 4. So it should be a static, my app static, my app. Oh. So maybe we need to do folder, blog. Let's just test it with vendor. So these loaded incorrectly, this loaded in, nothing else loaded incorrectly. Annoying. So blog vendor, bootstrap, JS. Let's see. We might need to run a command. we're gonna, so it's saying that during development we need to have this, which I'm guessing is essentially going to open these static files up. I'm assuming that this is going to be a list of essentially all of our static assets. Oh. Provided we import static, that is. Settings is not defined. Well, it's because it's also not imported. Now we're getting somewhere. All right, let's move the rest of those guys. No, just kidding. So we've got almost everything loading in, except for some of these. Let's see. So our Bootstrap bundle for JS isn't quite loading. Vendor, package, readme. Let's go here. We need to go through all of the images and add the static. It's making me wish I just written a script to parse this and do this. Yeah, I'm garbage with multiple cursors though. Although I have met people who use them very effectively. It's always interesting. Okay. Cool. Whoa. Okay. Let's see what we got so far. Okay, so we have effectively cloned their template into this page. And now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go where it says copyright, and we're going to say this is a everything here. Just because we're not going to claim credit for what's not our work. Cool. Now that we've done that, we are going to go through here. We're going to put our own, what we would do, I'm not going to take that much time, but you would essentially just go through. You have a really good starting point. You essentially have almost all the design work has been done for you. What you have to do is go through, change links, change images. Here's an example of that. Right? Some stuff is custom on here, but not much of it. And the nice thing, though, is that this is using a framework called Bootstrap by default, because we looked up a Bootstrap theme. What Bootstrap is essentially a way of having, it's essentially a CSS framework. It lets you handle things like a grid, forms, images, has a ton of other stuff to it. Let's see. No, I want to see. Yeah, so they're like Bootstrap components. Almost everyone has probably seen a card on a website somewhere. You can implement these very quickly using Bootstrap. So now let's say that we want to. So right now this is just a single page, right? And you could edit this, and this essentially can be your portfolio, right? But now we want to add a new section for our blog. So we're going to go to the navbar. We're going to copy this, and we're going to say blog, and we're going to direct them to blog list. Cool, okay, but this looks like garbage. So what can we do? Well, we don't want to repeat loading in all of our assets on the new page, right? And that's where we're going to turn to Jinja, right? Remember that Jinja, or more specifically Jinja 2 in this case, is a templating language that comes by default with Django. And what we can do some pretty cool stuff in Jinja. And so we're going to look up Jinja 2. Actually, I'll look up cheat sheet. Let's see. Do we have any? Mediocre. We're just going to go to their documentation, and then they have synopsis somewhere here that's pretty good. I definitely recommend reading the synopsis for Jinja. They do a really good job at boiling everything down and making it very simple for you to understand. I will go ahead and post that in Slack. Not on memes, though. I encourage everyone to post more memes. Okay. What we are looking for is blocks. Blocks. Or template inheritance, as I put it here. But essentially, what you do in Jinja is you define a block, and that is just a part that you can override in a child template. So we're going to define a. We want our nav bar, right? We want that consistent on every page. And we want the title. We're going to say my portfolio. Wow, okay. Site. So actually, this part won't be overridden. It's going to be the body that's overridden. So like here. So we'll call this, say, this is a block, and it is the body. And we need to go put an end block somewhere. So we're going to go down to all of this. It's the about section, contact session, footer. Okay. So this is the end of our body. Say end block. Cool. And now let's make we're going to go into post list, and we're going to tell it that it's a child of home. I sort of want to rename home to base, but I'm going to leave it just for a little second. We might do it a little bit. We'll say extend, yeah, home.html. And then here, as we can see here, so here they have an extend, which is saying, hey, this is a child of base.html, right? In our case, we're saying this is a child of home.html. They're defining a block to override, right? And they're defining a block for content to override. So we're just, the only one we can override right now is a body, which we're going to do. And then here we'll say, what do we call it? Yeah, body. Did I do quotes before on that block? Because I shouldn't have. Yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't put quotes. Oh, what? Oh, this is the index.html. That's why I'm losing my mind. I don't think we need that either. And let's load it and see what errors we get. Cool. Well, that's not quite right. So this start bootstrap. So our block's not quite in the right spot. Graphic web designer, Illustrator. Okay, so we need to move this up. Icon divider. Header. Okay, so we need to move it right here. Row page section portfolio. Block body. This matters. Let's look at our post list. We have block body and block. It should not. That's super weird. It should be irrelevant. Interesting. Yeah, I think so too. So header's closed up, div is closed up. There, just that. Section. Let's inspect element. Maybe something wonky is happening with the CSS. Okay, so here's our footer. Here's oh, so articles is there. It's just that it's not in a Bootstrap is not respecting it because we haven't set it up for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at these sections. So they define a section tag, and we're going to stick with that too. We're going to say section. I want this indented up over, but just 2. Okay. And let's look. And then they have a container, which is a Bootstrap. So notice it has a class of containers. So in Bootstrap, that's going to have its Bootstrap is essentially just giving us pre-built stuff. Let's remove text white. Let's keep text center. Container articles. let's change this to mass. Yeah, it definitely is.
So it's using that intersection to force down the content.
Yeah, so like, so essentially what's happening is it's somewhere in their CSS, they had like a, we can actually take a look at exactly what it was. So let's look here. So now it's working, and that's because of this masthead class that we added that I took from the other one. So it looks like they have essentially, they've done a, yeah, we weren't doing the same CSS that their sections were, right? So what was happening is our content was getting pushed up, right? Because we weren't using the CSS that they've defined for all of their sections. But now we are, so we should be good. Cool, so this still looks pretty bad. So let's go and grab some more. Let's get this. Add that as a class to articles. And we probably want to do our, well, do we want our articles to be in an unordered list, or do we want them to be in a table? What would you guys say? Or do we want them to just, we could also make them cards. Let's do cards. Yeah, cool. So let's just grab one of these. I need that end tag too. Come on. Okay, not quite gonna get it, but let's end it so we don't get any wonkiness. Our card title will be article.title. Some quick text. Yeah, that'll be we write short articles, so that'll be article.body. And we'll make a, this will be our edit button. Edit. And we'll make another button for delete. Called delete. Except we have no articles. So let's go create an article. And let's do this page while we're at it, because this looks nasty. So we got a form. Okay, how can we get our CSS styles from the other one? What do we need to do if we want to inherit from home.html? I heard. Yes. How do I do that? Yeah, I won't belabor it too much. Okay, what else do we need to do? Is that good? Well, we don't close the extends. The extends is just saying this is a child of, right? So we're just saying this is a child of home.html. Now what we need to say is what sections actually do we want to override in home.html? Exactly right. Remember to end your blocks. And okay. So let's put this in a section, and because we're lazy, we'll, in reality, you want to probably spend a little bit more time tweaking your CSS, right? But this is the MVP. The client wants an update very quickly. Okay. So this is not too terrible. Let's go see if Bootstrap has anything for forms. So we go to on Bootstrap, And we're like, okay, forms. What you got? Forms. Nice. Okay. Well, we can find form group. So let's do that. Okay. But it looks like on all of their inputs, they have this form control. And the way we've done this with our class-based views is just form as p. So we're going to have to change how we're doing that a little bit. So we know that we have this form object given to us by Django. And now we want to be able to add a class to an input on that form object. So we're going to look up form object Django add attribute. We're working with forms. Nope. Is that an actual? No, I don't. We're not going to cover that right now. Okay, so this is closer to what we need. Let's go by Django form. Okay, yeah, so we're getting form as table, form as UL. Rendering fields manually. So we can do form dot name of field. Can we set the, yeah, so it looks like we can do form, the name, and then we can say, so that's ID for label. No. Here's form dot subject. Slipping over the form fields. Errors is hidden. Visible fields, reusable form templates. Okay, so we'll look up form template Django add CSS class. Solution. No, not going to do that. The add class filter. Well, I do like that. And I wonder if we can just... What?
That looks great.
It does. So this is using another feature of Jinja, which is called a filter. Again, I recommend reading the synopsis because they do a really good job at explaining this. But if we look up here, we'll see filters. So a filter is basically, think of it as like you're just taking that output and you're passing it one step down the filter, and you take that and you pass it one step down the filter. So in this case, we're using name, start tags, title, right? And what that's going to do is, so start tags is just a function to remove all HTML tags, and then we're passing it here to title to make a title case. So Jinja gives you these sort of inbuilt filters to let you do stuff. So first we're going to test doing just one thing at a time. So we're going to say form.title, and we're going to see if that renders. And we have a form.title. Cool. Now form.body, and now we're going to say, what do you say, class name? Add class. Oh. Add class form-control. Invalid filter, add class. Oh, widget tweaks. I don't want to bring in something else. I know there's an easier way to do this. No. Oh, that's definitely one way. they're using widget tweaks too. Let's tinker with this a little bit more. So formed up body, CSS class to inputs. Here's formed up subject. Okay, well, I really don't want to bring in something else and complicate this anymore. So we're actually just going to emulate what they're doing already. We're going to do that. We're going to copy their tag, and we're just going to say class equals form-control, and then copy their other tag. Let's say class equals form-control. And we're going to say class equals form-control here too. We need to put this in a container so that it's not extending throughout the whole page. Okay, and now let's go to here for some more. So they've got labels. That's probably a good idea. So we'll do a label for this. We'll call it a title. It's for title. We'll do another one here for body. Cool. And title, body. Cool. And so we don't have any images for our cards at the moment. So mountains. Oh, look how picturesque that is. Mountains.jpg. So where's our card? It's over here. Somewhere there's an image tab. Yeah. Save. Okay, what do we need to do here to load from static? To load that mountains page from static. And where did I put it? Put it in image slash. All right, does this look good? Don't. That time was on purpose. Oh no. Expected empty and 4. Pretty sure it's static. Oh, what are we forgetting? Oh, I don't know if you guys will know this one. Might have not saw me do it. Something else with the static. Something I did on the other page. Load static. Well, actually, that should have loaded in there. Yeah, it should. So that's not the problem. It's static vendor. This? No, this is our post list. We just did the form over here. Static. Weird. Let's just sanity check that. I don't think that's the issue. That was the issue. Why is that uninheriting? It's inheriting everything else. I find that odd. But okay. Cool beans. Now we can edit. It's already changed. Ooh, although our loading in didn't work here. We did. It's because we're doing these, because I put these in manually. So we'll just go update view form object Django. I want to see all the attributes available here. Form.errors. Yeah, so this is a model form. Yeah, so the way that we would generally handle them, I don't want to cover because I think we've gone over a lot today, is you can actually make form classes. That is where you would do this like type of custom stuff usually. I'm just trying to get like a good way to fix it so that you don't have to worry about it. Okay, yeah, so we can grab this and we can just say value equals lost an F. That's the title. I'll just copy that whole thing and then say body. Nope, just kidding. Could not parse remainder. I have some doubts. Okay. Oh. This needs to be like that. This needs to be like that. let's try it without a call. Send error. Requires 2 arguments, 1 provided. Okay. And we'll look up default requires 2 arguments, 1 provided. That's different syntax. So anytime you're dealing with a framework, there's going to be several different updates and several different versions of that framework. Sometimes syntax that you're going to try beforehand is not going to work. So you might have to do some work to get it. And we're still quite not getting it here. So we're going to inspect here. Value is set to title. Value is set to body, which was what I said. Oh, HTML. If, like, you're just sitting there alone doing it? It depends on who you are. That is 100% what I need to do. Thank you, Jake. Yeah, because it's a text area, not an input. Thank you so much. We'll test it real quick on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the answer here. Yes. Yeah. Almost all of the live codes are. I make sure that all of the live codes, if I'm alone, I can do it in under an hour. So that, because I know that it's going to take longer because I'm explaining it, so I think it's about a factor of 3. So if I'm planning a 3-hour lecture, I do a 1-hour app. Well, yeah, so if you do what I did from scratch, well, I wouldn't do that because I'm a garbage designer. So the client, and I tell this to every client I work with, I'm like, I'm not a designer. I know designers that we can hire and we should hire. So if Jake and I were working on it, to implement his design would probably take me, I feel like you do a good handoff, so it'd probably take me like 3 or 4 hours to do all the like HTML and set all the CSS and stuff. I don't know. I think it.
To design, for instance, the final Basecamp site that I showed you, that took a day.
What about something like user profiles?
Just like from when I woke up.
Yeah. So user profiles, a fully fledged app. You could hackathon it, if you. Yes, if you need to.
You didn't see as much fidgeting or versions on that one. That final version, you didn't see the other 4 that were before. So it's a lot of iteration.
Cool, and everything works. Okay, so now we want to get this to our client. Unfortunately, our client is on the other side of the world, and they're not a developer, so we need to deploy this for them. And they're going to set up Django and run all of that?
No, just
Oh, they're going to install Python?
Snapshots? How do they know you're not lying?
Did you get paid already?
You're asking the right questions. Okay, so on to the next part. Okay, so Jinja's done. Again, read the synopsis for Jinja. It will make your life so much better. Okay, Bootstrap theme. Awesome, and we're going to deploy today. This is mainly to yes.
So in that article section,
Mhm.
link to the
Read the articles ahead. What do you?
edited like few corrections.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like the only way to like read what's in the title and the body is to edit.
No, it will output both right here. So if we do like,
Mine also has it.
poor player who struts and threats, right? And we save that. Yeah, that's the way we have it set right now. So hopefully, don't write anything too big. But ideally, what you would have is you'd have like a view button too, and we could add that really quick. I just think deploying is more important. Awesome. So this part is mainly to expose you to this. Anytime you're deploying using Docker in this bootcamp, I will write the Docker file for you because I'm not trying to overwhelm you. But I think it's important that you guys be aware of technology such as this because it's what most people are using for their infrastructure, or the people on the using modern infrastructure tools. So everyone has Docker installed. We're going to go here. We're going to, first things first, we're going to go AWS deploy Django Docker. And we're going to go to the actual Amazon. Actually, I sort of want to deploy it twice. We're going to deploy it twice so you can see how to do it without Docker and how to do it with. So this is assuming you have the Elastic Beanstalk installed. You also have to do, and unfortunately I can't really mock this well for you, but you need to do the initialization for getting started with the AWS CLI. So you will have to do this. It's pretty simple to go through. You're basically just setting up authentication. I am not going to show you guys all my Amazon keys, so we're not going to do that. Cool. So let's init an application. Call it blog. Application blog. So can we do EB list and see that? Okay. Nope. Okay. I will say EB init. Yes, I want SSH for my instances. Yes, I want to use that key pair. No, it's not going to make any changes to your Django project. Next, we're going to create an environment to deploy in, and we're going to just call this Django env.
So while that's making deployment, is there a Docker container that is available? You just pull down from either AWS or Docker that already has Django.
You can. I'm going to show you.
Set up in it.
Yes, I'm going to show you a one sec. I think actually it's on Docker Hub, and I think Django actually provides it. Yeah.
Just do our development in that container and then just push that.
To AWS.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Although we're only covering AWS in this class. So, but that's just because they're the only ones who sponsored it. No, I'm kidding. Creating auto scaling group, be aware. Everything it's doing does charge some amount. It's small, but make sure you have a student account and you're using free credits. So I'm actually going to shut this down as soon as we're done with this live code. So why don't Jake?
So like, deploy DB like, those guys.
Yes.
So like you can go to that site.
Well, I mean,
On the internet.
when it says it's ready.
What's like the cost like per minute, per day, second?
It's per hour. Like created CloudWatch. Okay. Hmm?
It's very easy to deploy.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Well, except for when it breaks. Yes.
Aren't there like hosting services where you can just upload your files on there and it hosts the stuff for you?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah.
Those are like $6.
Well, so remember that it's not a static website, right? So if it was a static website, there's there's even free hosting we could do.
Oh yeah, static. You can just use surge.sh and one command and publish.
Yeah, but for a Django app, right, or something where we actually need a server sitting there,
Because we're storing. Anytime you're doing anything with a database or you have business logic.
yes, you're gonna need it.
So why?
What?
It's because it can like get
It's because it's not. It's because it is using like a database that has dynamic. Okay, well, anything I say is gonna be a little bit wrong because there's like dozens of different cloud architectures that we could choose. It's like if we want, we could figure out how to get this. As Jake pointed out to me the other day, you can run this on a Lambda function on AWS, which is which is serverless. So it's like a temporary, like basically someone would do a request, Amazon would spin up a server, pass in what they said to Django, and then shut it down as soon as.
So I do that for all my projects when I'm developing because I don't want to pay for a server. If you can get away with using Lambda, have fun with it. If you can, that's fine too. Yeah.
And you can just theoretically set up your computer to be a server in your house that works for that.
Yeah, you could do that. The nice thing about
Let me know if you do that.
Why is that?
Oof.
Plus, a lot of these other places, they have these things called a CDN, a content delivery network. And what that means is it will take your things like CSS, JavaScript, everything except for your HTML, really. And it will say, we're going to take these files and we're going to propagate them around all our servers around the world. That way, when you load your site, it loads, let's say you were in England, it would load somewhere close to you as opposed to it always has to load in your basement in Indiana. So it's a lot faster.
Yeah, you don't want to play the game of hosting it yourself. Amazon's going to be able to host it cheaper than you will be able to.
That's how it's great.
Okay, so we need to add this to our allowed hosts so that Django doesn't freak out when it's on a different page. And let's go check that we've done everything here. So allowed host. We can now do EB status. Cool, and now we'll just say EB deploy. It'll do it full, and I actually want to. Okay, yeah, we're in the right spot. It's gonna do full. Now, when we're doing Docker, then it will upload the difference if you set that up, not with what we're gonna do. Unfortunately.
Last night when I was reading this documentation on deploying static files,
Mhm.
the Django docs make the point that the way in which those files are saved during development
Is grossly inefficient.
and inefficient.
Yes.
And it recommends reading so my question, two questions. Number one, how should they be configured for deployment?
Mhm.
Is there an automated way to do that?
Mhm.
B, why not just develop with them in that configuration?
Yeah, so answer to why not develop in that configuration is simplicity. Two, static files aren't actually going to. Yeah, so it's we're getting a little bit complex to how it works here. Sort of think of it this way. On a web server, we've got, say this is our user, and to send a request, it's going to go through, say, Nginx, and then it's going to go to something called, basically what's responsible for running your Django instances. So let's say in this case it's Gunnicorn, and here's Django. Now for static stuff, you actually don't want, the reason they're saying that is because you don't want Django to serve your static stuff, which is what Django does by default development. Right, what you want is you put your static stuff using I believe in Django it's collect static. Use collect static to sort of bundle all your static stuff together. And then you have Nginx serve it.
So how do you configure that route? I mean, I understand what you're saying about certain the statics, but so Django is dynamically assembling the HTML for any individual page and serving that to the user, and then the user's browser is going to grab those images or whatever from.
So basically, Nginx gets the web page from Django, and it already has the static stuff, and it sends that to the user.
So how? That's my question. I mean, I understand what you're saying conceptually, but
Yeah.
What is the method for doing it?
So what I would recommend looking at is the deployment section here, which I will link to. But it's pretty basic. Essentially, you're going to set a static route, which is going to just where collect static should go. You're going to run collect static, and then you're going to tell Nginx where collect static is.
Okay.
And I will post that right here. For those of you who are really new to deploying, I would just focus on getting it working. Yeah, okay. So this is not working as we need it to be. Yeah, okay. So we've got an issue here. This is what happens when I get too used to just deploying with Docker. Application was created. Local repository. Let's, I think we can do EBSSH and go into our last box. Nope, okay.
Is it a log that generates?
Yeah. I'm worried that that's not going to work because of the SSH, but cool. Thank goodness. Okay. Status.
apps that actually like that would make sense to have all these static files for
What do you mean?
like our blog could be simpler, right? Without, like was that all the static files we added necessary?
No, because some of them were like development files for the template, but most of them were. Yeah. That's not particularly helpful. Let's look at. Let's do EV status. See if it's green. Okay, so it is green. That's interesting. Video tutorial. Let's look at our Elastic Beanstalk settings locally here. Okay, so Django env, application, yes, yes. You know, it might be that I was in the wrong folder. Project directory should now look like this. Okay. Okay, so first let's make sure we got a requirements txt. We're missing a few steps here. Yeah, because what's happening in the background, right? Is we're sending this to a whole other server that's sitting on Amazon's infrastructure, so they don't know what is installed until we tell them. So it's just, I believe we just need Django for this one. Okay. 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 Vim.db. We'll say, what is it? Django.config. So we had to tell it where our web server gateway interface. So we need to tell it where, so basically there's one file that's responsible for acting as the sort of coordinator of all of the requests Django gets in. And that is, you can look into this more if you wish, but it's essentially the server itself. And that is our WSGI .py. And we need to tell our application where that is, right? So from EB extensions, it's going to be in portfolio because Nginx needs to know where that is. Okay. Cool. So now let's do EB deploy. See if we have more luck. And I believe it should recognize that EV extensions file by default. But again, I normally deploy with Docker, which we're going to do right after this. And let's go actually on AWS. We can go to the Elastic Beanstalk and we can see our oof. Okay, well, my console was last configured for my contract work, so I accidentally just deployed on a client server, but it's okay because I'm going to take it down right after this.
So even if you keep it on, they would be paying for it.
Yes, which is why I'm going to remove it as quickly as possible. It's okay. Actually, they not next week, but the week after. There's the senior developer from there is going to come speak to you guys on web development in general. So they're, if I tell them it was just a snafu while live coding, they'll be fine. Internal server error.
Oh, there's a pass.
I guess it's better than an external server error. Okay, I can feel it. I can feel the hate.
This really is the best type of introduction. Because when you're learning, it's great to see somebody who knows what they're doing, really struggling with something.
And I wouldn't be struggling with it by yourself.
Okay, I got it. I got it. Okay, so there's our error log. Script not found. I really want to be able to SSH on there, but I can't. Super irritating. So we'll just look at the logs again. Let's see, opt Python current app portfolio. So we got a Django exception, improperly configured SQLite. Oof.
Oh, are you gonna configure the test case?
No. No, I'm not gonna. If this was Docker, maybe. I'm not gonna go through that. Interesting. What is this error? Restarted Apache and that magically fixed this problem. That is not what you want to hear. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna restart it based on what that said. So it's making it to our default gateway file. Just it's still starting up.
What's going on right now?
We're getting this runtime error populate isn't retrans. I haven't seen that before, but when I Slack overflowed it, I got this, which I thought was, oh wow, 2 pages. No, it's not the problem.
May I ask why we're not using Docker's Postgres and Django setup?
Because I wanted to show how to do it without, because some people really don't like Docker. This is why they don't like. Well, no, this is
That's what you do. That's what I
this is
asked.
why they do.
I was gonna ask why people like
Okay, well. Oh, Docker itself is its own hellscape, as any web development is. Like if you don't have somebody there to write nice Docker files for you,
No, you shouldn't. You're triggering.
okay, yeah, I actually am going to pivot, and we're just going to do this in Docker. Because I really don't want to debug this. So we're going to...
So that lesson was about why we like Docker.
Okay, so we're going to look up Docker, Django, and they're going to have quick start, because of course they do. Oh yeah, I forgot. They're set up for actually uses it's using a Flask, which is another Python framework. Another Python. No, not on top of Django. That's just what they use for their example here. Let's see. Yeah. Touch Docker file. Okay. Yeah. No. R requirements.txt. And to start it. Okay. So I could give a speech about how this is bad practice, but I'm not going to.
They're having master's presentations.
We did in the Docker file. Let me go
so
to it. So this is a Docker file. How Docker works is that Docker is essentially creating not quite a virtual machine, but it's abstracting away your app, right? So it's Docker is part of a technology called containerization, right? And recently, people have been making a move to that because it allows you to have more control both locally and on the cloud, because you can explicitly define everything in your environment. So what we've said is that we're going to use the Docker base image of Python 3.6. We're going to copy our application into the Docker container to something called /app, which is our work directory. We're going to install requirements.txt. We're going to expose 8000, which is the port Django uses, and we're going to run the server.
Why have you not included the command run server?
Why have I?
Run server. Type it in that line.
Oh, because I forgot. Thank you. Yeah, so that's totally not going to
what's
work.
the bad practice part of that?
Oh, I'm using the development server. Yeah, unknown command. Thank you.
Why do you have to expose 00?
So 000 there is just another way of saying localhost. Two unapplied migrations. I would like to migrate those. Okay, but our server is running. I just said. Okay. Cool. So now, don't need to say that. Create test. Yes. Yeah, which allows us to have more control, right? Because we basically just got to test exactly what's going to be in the Beanstalk without. Yes. Failed to launch environment. Option settings in one of the configuration files failed. Wow. Well, that's fine, because we don't need that anymore. Goodbye.
So the WSGI server, that is the server.
Yes, essentially. Well, it's like the gateway into Django. So I think I actually it's been too long since I've worked with this to give you a good answer on this. Let's look at Gunicorn. Yeah. So it is the development server. If you were doing this locally, you would use something like If you were doing this on the server, like Amazon for deployment, you'd use something like Gunicorn, which is a production WSGI server.
You would just make that change to your settings prior to your deployment build.
Yes. Well, you would tell Gunicorn where your Django app is, and then you tell Nginx where Gunicorn is.
That's not something that is automatically configured for you by
The Beanstalk? No. Launching auto-scaling group. Fun. Yes.
There's been a lot of lectures today. I'm gonna actually have time to project manager or
Yeah. Yes. I'm going to be done in 10 minutes. It is. You only have to do a portfolio site. Yes.
What if you were unable to finish the blog during the lecture?
Oh, the blog is not an assignment.
Just the HTML.
Just an HTML portfolio site. That is your assignment for today.
And we don't have to make them all like pretty and stuff.
Well, in 2 weeks, you're going to be showing that to 75 people that are going to go look at it, and potential employers, other tech people, right? So I would make it something you're comfortable with people looking at. We might spend some time tomorrow doing it as well. Like maybe we'll spend the first hour or so in the morning. I think you can use Bootstrap to get a pretty good, like the way I always think about it is I aim for like, if I can spend an hour and I can get a website that's a 6, I'm good with that. But that's also like, it depends on what you're trying to get people to hire you for. Like most of the stuff I do is like infrastructure, like maybe cluster computing or backend stuff, right? I purposefully don't market myself as a designer. So nobody's going to my website being like, yeah, let's hire, this.
And it depends on your focus. So when you learn React next week, there'll be people who want to be front-end devs more so, right?
Yep.
And if you're in that category, which I fall under, then design is still an important part of what you do.
Exactly.
Recommend using this time today to design your own HTML, CSS to get the hang of it, or should we use Bootstrap?
So we've given you 2 routes on purpose. It is up to your discretion which one you pick. I recommend if you are someone who wants to work on front-end stuff, if you want to be able to do design work, if you want for people to potentially hire you for design work, you need to build your own, right? If that sounds like a nightmare to you, then go and rip a free Bootstrap theme off the web and have at it. Well, that's loading. So Jake mentioned Surge, and I'll show you guys how you can deploy something with Surge in like 27 seconds. Let's see, where's my prototype site? Somewhere in here. ThemeForest.
What you got? What is there any discrepancies between on databases that like a lot of people see versus not a lot of people see?
Can you rephrase? But deploying between databases that a lot of people see versus not. What do you?
Like any database brands.
Oh yes, SQLite is not a production database. Currently, this is using SQLite. If we were deploying this for production, we were gonna have 100,000 users, or even 1,000. We would want to use Postgres or MySQL or some other production grade database.
You can do unorthodox things with databases, but you need to be aware of all the consequences of that. And I would just recommend sticking with MySQL and Postgres.
Oh no, tragedies happen every day. Oh, at least it's up there though. So now we need to go to our settings, and we need to add this to allowed hosts. So what happened is it got up there on our Docker deploy worked. It got up there on that URL. We sent a request to it, and Django went, whoa, 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 I don't know who this host is. I'm not giving you anything.
So this is always going to be a thing, because you don't know until it's deployed what that endpoint is.
No, I think when you do EB create, it creates the endpoint. So before you do EB deploy, you do get a.
Where's
You can do EB status to get it. I'll show you as soon as this is done loading. So that's deploying. I have a somewhere here, not portfolio site, it's like new portfolio site. Code cd new, yeah, new portfolio. So this is my spent an hour working on a new portfolio site. This is also a Bootstrap theme. uh, this, I don't know. It's a theme. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You can define how they're actually doing this. We can check really quick. Flow hidden. My guess is that they're doing, yeah, my guess is that they're data-animate.
It's using JavaScript and CSS classes with
Yeah.
CSS keyframes, which is
It's the event
a lot
listener.
of things working together. Animation's hard.
Yeah, we're not
You reach the
tangle with
animation,
that.
you reach the
Or I can just do like surge something. Yeah. Go. Do it. Maddening rabbit.
Deploy wherever you are.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
really
Published.
Ta-da.
Bam. So deploying your static sites will be way easier than deploying Django apps.
Definitely. And a lot cheaper too.
Yes. Free is the right price. Here's our Django app, thanks to the magic of Docker. And we have deployed. Everyone should have Surge installed. That was in the pre-work. Everyone should have Docker and Elastic CLI installed. So everyone here is ready to deploy. Are there any questions?